It doesn't take a lot of education to make millions in the stock market. So, hi everyone, I'm Ron Kagape. Welcome to Dealmaker channel. And in this video, we're going to talk about a janitor. A janitor who was a high school graduate. He worked as a gas station attendant and a janitor for a very long time, more than 40 years of his life. And yet, even though he had a simple job. He didn't make a lot of money. He wasn't high paid like others. He was able to create an $8 million portfolio in the global stock market. And that's what we're going to look at now in this video. All right, our janitor is called Ronald Reed. We're the same name. All Ronalds rejoice. Yeah, so Ronald Reed was a high school graduate. When he finished high school, he actually enlisted in the army in the fighting in World War II. He was a military policeman. And then after World War II, he was honorably discharged, and he worked as a gas station attendant and mechanic in his hometown in Brattleboro. And he worked in that gas station for 25 years. And after that, he retired. Now, a year after retiring, he went back to work as a janitor in JC Penney. And that one of his colleagues in JC Penney said that he has two important skills. He has two worthwhile skills: investing and chopping wood. He was really, really very good in chopping wood. So imagine that. This this guy was not trained in business. He was not trained in finance. He did not get any technical analysis or fundamental analysis training. He was just an ordinary guy. You are probably smarter than this guy. So probably a lot of people are smarter than this guy. But what set him apart was his ability to be frugal and to invest in stocks. Now, how was he able to do that? We're going to look at the next slides. Well, he read books and the Wall Street Journal. Now, he would normally go into the library. He really loved reading books. Now, I don't know what his book list looks like, but he primarily read the Wall Street Journal so that he can be accustomed or he can have more information about the stocks that he was going to buy or about the business world in general. Right? He just kept tabs on what was happening in the world around him and he invested accordingly. And he was able to build a portfolio worth $8 million. All right, now you might be saying, Ronald, he's a janitor in the US. Yes, that is true. So comparing salaries in the US and here in the Philippines, obviously Ronald Reed makes more money than janitors here. But what I wanted to emphasize here is that you don't need a lot of education to invest in the global stock markets. So even if you are making less than a janitor in the United States, what that means is you can still apply the lessons that he learned so that you can grow your wealth. Maybe it's not $8 million, right? Maybe it's just 10%. Why not target just 10% of what Ronald Reed was able to build? 800,000. $800,000. That's around 4 million pesos. That's still a good target, to aspire for. But of course, if you're making as much as Ronald on a monthly basis, or if you're an OFW, right, you are working abroad, I'm going to show you how you can apply what Ronald did. Right, so let's make it practical for you. But the good thing here, before we go into the practical stuff, I want just to share that Ronald Reed was able to build a legacy that he was able to pass on. He did not have a family of his own. He didn't have kids. He had relatives, he had friends. He shared some of his money to them, but he was also able to leave a legacy to a local hospital, 4.8 million pesos to a local hospital, and 1.2 million pesos to the library where he would often read books. That's awesome, right? It's awesome how you can pass on a legacy to other organizations or maybe to your family. Imagine what $8 million can do for your children, for your grandchildren. It's very, very important that we learn how to invest in the global stock market because this is what can happen when we know what we are doing. The good news is everyone can copy what Ronald did. He did not read complicated charts, right? He did not make any savvy day trades, right? He was really a buy and hold investor. And now you and I can do that even if we don't live or work in the United States because we already have global platforms that allows us to do that. And the starting portfolio, the starting capital is not very big. Okay. So first off, if you want to copy Ronald Reed, you really need to be frugal so that you can have money, you can have enough money to invest in the global markets. So that's something that no, I will no longer teach. That's really up to you. There are a lot of videos out there that teach people how you can save money. So it's very important that you don't spend everything that you make, that you set aside a portion that you can invest. Okay. Number two, lesson number two from Ronald the janitor, the investing janitor, is we need to invest time in money, in information. So Ronald Reed spent time reading the Wall Street Journal, and that gave him, that gave him the confidence, and also that gave him the relevant information that he needed so that he can make good investment decisions. Right. So again, this is a person that invests long term. He's not a day trader. He does not invest on what the news tells him, but he follows the news so that he understands what is going to happen over the next few months, few years, especially in the business world. And he spent a lot of time uh, invested. Uh, one of the, I guess, based on the articles that I have read, one of the first transactions that he did was in 1959. So he went out of the army in 1945. So 14 years after going out of the army and working as a gas station attendant, uh, he was able to start investing in 1959, and he was invested all the way until he passed away. I think he passed away in the year 2015. Okay, not quite sure. Okay, but he just passed away after the year 2000. But the thing here is, it's the amount of time that he stayed invested, starting in 1959 all the way into the year 2000. He was invested. So it's not about the timing, it's not about the amount of money that he put in, but it's really the length of time. So it's time that matters, not the timing or the capital. So if you're wondering, is this a good time to invest in the global stock market? Well, yes, especially if you have not yet started. So any time is a good time. The best time was actually 20 years ago. The next best time is today. Okay? Ronald invested in winners. He invested in companies that he understood based on what he read. Of course, he was not perfect. There were companies that eventually failed, but for the most part, he was able to invest in companies that made money for him. So if you're going to choose money, if you're going to choose companies that have a history of leadership, choose companies that give dividends, just like what Ronald did, and invest in companies that will continue to lead in the future. So, what are some of the companies that he invested in? One of the companies is Procter and Gamble. So, a lot of you probably know Procter and Gamble. I'm not quite sure what the products of Procter and Gamble are because I confuse them between Procter and Gamble, Unilever. These are the two biggest consumer companies here in the Philippines. So I think Procter and Gamble makes Ariel, right, and Tide, and 100 other products, right? Maybe you can also check out Unilever. But this is the chart of Procter and Gamble. So if you notice here, in the early 1980s, right, Procter and Gamble was almost close to $0, uh, and now it's $137. So if you started to invest in Procter and Gamble in the 1980s, you would have made 130 times your money already, and that's not including the dividends that Procter and Gamble pays. As you can see here, Procter and Gamble pays a dividend of 2.3%. Now, the next company that Ronald purchased is the General Electric Company. And if you'll notice here, now the General Electric Company was a pretty good company all the way until the year 2000. And so GE was a pioneering company. They invented, GE was the company that was founded by Thomas Edison. They were one of the pioneering companies when electricity was started to introduce. So when we started to use electricity more, uh, they invented a lot of things, a lot of appliances, the refrigerator, I don't know, maybe the radio, the TV. I think they invented the TV. Electric fan is the GE electric fan was very, very popular, in the early days. And so GE was a great company, especially when Ronald started to buy GE shares all the way up to the year 2000. Now he may have started to lose money in GE when Jack Welch retired, and when he stepped down as CEO of GE. Jack Welch was one of the, I guess, hailed as one of the greatest CEOs, of the 20th century. All right. Next company that Ronald purchased is Johnson and Johnson. So you are probably aware of Johnson and Johnson. Now, if you use Johnson and Johnson bath soap for your kids, right? Then this is that's the company that handles that. But Johnson and Johnson is not just in bath soap. They have 100 other companies, but I think they also have medical devices, right, if I'm not mistaken. But if you look at the chart, right, if you bought J&J in the early 1980s, you would have made 150 times your money already. Another company that I'm sure you are familiar with is Colgate Palmolive, right? If you bought Colgate Palmolive in the early 1980s, you would have made 80 times your money already. So these are the companies that Ronald Reed purchased. He did not buy tech companies. He did not understand technology stocks at that time. So it's okay. It's okay if you don't buy a technology stock because there are thousands of stocks in the US global market that can still make you money. And even if you don't understand technology, if you feel you're not educated enough, you're not intelligent enough, then buy companies that you do understand, that are leaders in their field, and as a bonus, that give dividends so that you can reinvest those dividends as well. That is the fifth lesson that we can learn from Ronald Reed. Similar to what secretary that we discussed in the previous video, Grace Groner. Grace Groner just bought one stock, Abbott Laboratories, but what she did was she reinvested every dividend that she got from Abbott Laboratories. She reinvested and bought more stocks of Abbott Laboratories. It's the same with Ronald Reed. Now, reinvest the profits, reinvest the dividends that you make, especially in the early going when you're still young, when you're not yet retired, when you're not yet depending on your stock market portfolio for your retirement. So really, it's very important to start as early as possible so that you will have time for your investments to grow. All right. And the good news is everyone can copy Ronald because now it's easy to invest in the US, even if you live here in the Philippines, right? You don't need to work in the US. You don't need a US bank account. You don't even need $8 bank account anymore. You don't need a US address. Those were the requirements before. Now, many years ago, those were the requirements to get started to invest in the US. And that's why it was only available to people who were based in the US or to people who can go to the US. Now, if you had the funds to go there, open a US bank account, then you could trade in the US stock market. But now it's open to everyone because of eToro. Now, you can invest in US or global stocks using eToro. This is what I use. Now, I use eToro to here. That is eToro. You can invest in the US. using the eToro platform. Four things that I like about eToro: you have global market access. So it's not just the US. You can actually invest in stocks in other exchanges as well, such as in London, in Hong Kong, um, in Japan, in the Netherlands, so Germany. So it's truly, you have global market access as well. And what I really love is 0% commission. You don't pay a commission when you buy US stocks in eToro. Now, if you don't know what you're doing, you can actually copy the trades of other people, right? You can check out the eToro platform for their popular investors. And if you like the investment principle, or if you like the performance of a popular investor, you can copy their trades. Now, you can set aside, say, $200, $500, or $1,000. You can use that to copy a trader. So whatever a trader makes a trade on his own account, then they will copy the same trades in your account. You don't need to do anything. And the good thing here is you don't even need to pay that trader any fees to do copy trading. So it's all automatic. You don't need to follow them. You don't need to manually copy the trades. Plus, you get a $50 bonus when you open an eToro account, but only if you use a referral link. So if you go directly to eToro, you won't get a $50 bonus. But if you use a referral link, then you get that $50 bonus. So you can use my referral link below, or you can ask a friend that you know who uses eToro and get the referral link so that you can get a $50 bonus. So make sure that you avail of the bonus, because that's already a 25% return. Right? That's automatically a 25% return on, at least if you put in $200, that's the minimum. You already make $50 profit. Okay. All right. So I hope you learned. I hope you learned something from the example of Ronald Reed. If you like his story, please make sure to subscribe to this channel so that you can get more global stock market investing tips. And please make sure to like like this video, smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. It tells YouTube that you like this video, and it's going to tell other people to watch this video, and that will help me produce more videos as well. Of course, the more likes that I get, the more encouraged I get to give valuable videos like this. And if you want to get my free guide on global investing, I would suggest that you also grab my free global investing guide in the link below. All right, so this has been Ronald Kagape, uh, encouraging you to invest in the global stock market using the eToro platform. And I hope that you get started, because now is the best time to get started in the global stock markets. So I hope that you get started, and may all your deals push through.